Did you know that every single day, 400,000 tons of trash goes to the landfill? 400,000 every single day. Well, today we are going to take 20 of those items that would have went to the dump, flip them, give them new life and new purpose. So come along with us and see what we do with them.
These first two items I thought would be a quick flip, just a little bit of cleaning and we will be good to go. I paid $1.25 for this brass bow hook and less than $1 for the goose trinket tray that I found in the Goodwill bargain bins. After cleaning with soap and water and a little bit of Brasso, I discovered that the goose was two-toned silver and gold, not quite the look I was going for. So I decided to spray paint the goose with bare champagne gold paint. After painting, I brought the goose back inside and used this Rust-Oleum decorative glaze in the Java color and a paper towel to blot on the glaze. I thought that this would help give the goose an antique look. A vintage metal baking tin or a mold of some sort, and it was in very good condition as far as the shape of it, but the color was just not quite what I was going for. So I took the bare champagne gold paint and sprayed it on a paper towel and blotted it along the outside of the container. And then I went in with an antique gold, which is a little bit of a brighter color, and I did the same thing, sprayed it on the paper towel and blotted it on the outside of the scallop pan. I love how the gold tones just really warm this piece up. Paired with a candle or some fresh fruit, it makes for such a cute decorative accent. Trays are something that you can find a lot of at the thrift stores. I found this one at the Goodwill bins for under $2. It was in very good condition, and what drew my eye to it was that beautiful scalloped lace detail around the edge. Because we live in Florida, I thought these rub-on orange decals would be fun and very fitting. After applying the decals, I sprayed the tray with a clear coat to protect the transfers from wearing off. And I will put the link to all the products I used in this video down below in the description box. Other items that seem to be plentiful at thrift stores are candle holders and plate chargers. I also like to pick up wooden bowls when I find them. I decided to make elevated stands with these items. I wanted a grouping of 3 that I could use for snacks when guests come. After spray painting with a flat black paint, I applied a food-safe sealer to these items to keep them from contaminating our food. I'll link that product below. Here I am using a heavy-duty oven cleaner. I spray it on the bowl to remove the paint from the bowl. I then covered it with a bag so that the sun would not dry the oven cleaner before it had time to work. I then used a scraper to scrape off what paint I could. I had to repeat this process several times, and then I took it inside and cleaned it with soap and water and used a sanding sponge to finish the job. Now I brought the items back inside to assemble them. I know, it looks like there's not full coverage on that charger, but I promise it's just the shadows coming in through the window that's making it look that way. After giving this bowl a rough sand with my sanding sponge, I decided to apply the Rust-Oleum Java decorative glaze to the outside. I wanted it to be a little richer in color to match the candle holder. Here I am attaching the wooden bowl and the candle holder to the bottom of the plate chargers. I attached them using two different kinds of glue, hot glue and E6000. The E6000 is a strong industrial glue, but it takes a little bit more time to dry. The hot glue will dry faster and fasten for me to continue working on these items. Here is the wooden bowl after all the black paint has been scraped and scrubbed off. I'm applying the Rust-Oleum decorative glaze to match the candle holder and the wooden bowl to be used in our set. To save these next three items from the landfill was quite the process, but I am so tickled with the results. I found this father sign that had great parts to make a scroll. It was showing its age and I wanted to give it new life. This lemon pitcher was marked $5.99, but the day I got it at the Goodwill was Orange Sticker Day, so we got it for 50% off. After removing the picture from the frame, I had to mark it to cut down to size. Then I had to cut the board down vertically to match the size of the lemon picture. dowels had tiny, tiny nails that were holding the ropes in, but they were kind of buried deep into the dowel rod. I used a chisel and hammer to extract them from the wood. It was quite the process getting those tiny nails out, but once we got them out, I was able to pull the rope out. Then I took my sanding sponge and sanded both of the dowel rods down. I thought these dowel rods had a little bit of an orange undertone, so I made a paint wash by mixing this tan apple barrel paint with water. After brushing on a light coat of the wash onto the dowel rods, I then wiped it off with my paper towel. I repeated this process 2 times, and I think that it really helped lighten the wood. Here is the third item that we will use for this project. I paid $2.99 for it, and it had an original price of $12.99 and came from Hobby Lobby. I used the wire snips to snip the wire so I could remove the beads. I then use twine to thread on the beads from the wreath so that I can make a hanging handle for this picture scroll. One trick that I found that helps making threading the twine through the beads is to take a little bit of tape and tape the end of the twine. Now it's time to put it all together. I used my hot glue to glue the print to the wood backing. I then glued the dowel rods back to the top and bottom of the picture to complete this project. I am so happy with how it turned out. Next, I found this watercolor book. At the thrift shop here on Mondays, all reading material is 50% off. I think I paid 99 cents for this book, and I thought maybe I could use the prints to honor the artist in a different way. Another item that I often find at thrift shops are clipboards. After trimming down the artwork, I wanted to attach it to this clipboard. I found the clipboard at Goodwill for 99 cents. I marked the clipboard to where I wanted to cut it. After I cut it, I mixed 3 colors of apple barrel paint together to get a beautiful green shade. After the paint was dry, I attached the artwork using double-sided tape. I then had my husband engrave some inspiration on it using his X-Tool S1 engraver. And we'll talk more about that in future episodes. This piece I wanted to gift to a friend for some extra encouragement. Don't we all need to know in our hearts that life is hard, but we never have to walk it alone? I found this piece for $2.99 at Goodwill and loved the shape of it. I looked it up and it came in a set of 3 from Crate and Barrel. It didn't need much, just some spray paint, and then it was my style. This next project saved another 4 items from the dump. I used this $1.99 wooden framed board, a 99-cent vase, about 25 cents worth of burlap, some faux lavender flowers that I had left over from another project, and a $1.99 wire holder of some sort. If you know exactly what the original purpose of this wire holder was, can you leave a comment down below for me? I started out by covering the board with the decorative glaze. I removed the backing to make it a little easier to stain. I made a whitewash and applied it over top of the stain and wiped it back with my paper towel. This helps to lighten the wood, and I think that it gives it a shabby chic look. At first, I tried to attach this little vase to the holder with hot glue. As you can see, that made a mess. We can't have that. So I pulled it off and picked all the hot glue off the vase and off the holder. Then I wrapped the vase in a piece of burlap. I tied the top with twine and then reattached it with hot glue to the holder while it was wrapped in the burlap. And that seemed to be less of a mess. After adding the lavender stems, it made such a cute little wall hanging. All I did to these pears was add a little bit of gold paint. They're concrete, aren't they so sweet? Next, I found this metal milk jug. I removed the handle. I added some painter's tape around the top part so that it would leave a stripe, and then I applied 2 coats of chalk paint. I had these French Country rub-on decals left over from the tray that I upcycled last episode. I loved how they looked with the green and white of this milk jug. Afterwards, I applied a clear coat over top of the whole can to protect the chalk paint from chipping off and to protect the decals from rubbing off. I then added some flowers that I found at Hobby Lobby for 40% off. I really love how this is turning out. I think it looks so sweet. And faux or real, flowers always have a way of cheering up a space. If you've enjoyed these upcycling ideas that save these items from a landfill, would you please go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more transformation ideas.
Well, that was a lot of fun for me. I hope that it was fun for you guys too, watching as I transformed the items and saved them from the dump. Here at Honey Creek Homes, our motto is create, transform, and inspire. And I hope we inspired you to do just that.